I've been listening to analysts talk, these sports analysts talk about the premier matchup between the Suns and the Clippers. And, from what I'm hearing so far, nobody is giving the Clippers a chance to win this series. Now, before we get into that, though, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. But, let's get back to it. I'm just, I'm shocked, and I understand the reason why a lot of people may say the Suns are going to win because they're 8-0 with Kevin Durant. And on top of that, they have their 3-star pieces, and the Clippers are missing one of their huge, pieces in Paul George. And rightfully so, they should be looked at as the underdogs in the situation because they don't have all their pieces. And on top of that, right now, if you look at the Phoenix Suns, they look like the sexier team with more options. And, some people might be looking at them having a big four when DeAndre Ayton decides to play well and have good games also. But I will say this, it doesn't look good for the Clippers in regards to facing a team with this much, firepower, but I can't count Kawhi Leonard out. I can't just go against Kawhi like that. And like I said, any team led by Kawhi Leonard to me has a puncher's chance. They have a chance to win. Don't act like the Clippers don't have a chance to win because they don't have all their pieces. They don't have Paul George. They still got a chance to win even without Paul George, even though it's going to be a whole lot more tougher to win without his services because you're taking away 23 points a game that the Clippers are missing. But when you look at the Clippers in their favor, they do got a 2-time champion in Kawhi Leonard who knows what it's like playing in big games like this and who's been known to be a dynasty killer. I'm not sure if Kawhi can still do those things because he is, a little bit older now, but at the same time, he's not old. He's not out of his prime. He's just a little bit older than what he was several years ago when he knocked off dynasty teams like the Golden State Warriors. And, I say this much too. He has Norman Powell as well. Norman Powell is a champion. He's won a championship with Kawhi Leonard, actually, on the Toronto Raptors. And, it was against the Golden State Warriors, actually. And, when I think about Norman Powell and what he can bring, he can almost match. If he's given the opportunity, he could put up the same amount of points that, Paul George puts up per night if he's given the opportunity because he can score. Norman Powell's a walking bucket. The man can average 20-plus points every night if he's in the starting lineup or if he's given the opportunity. So, they're missing Paul George in regards to more of his defense than his offense because offensively, they have a lot of pieces to kind of make up for what Paul George does offensively in regards to his numbers. They can't score the same way in the multitude of ways that Paul George can score because Paul George has, a game that's smooth. He's very versatile with his game, but his offensive game. But at the same time, the Clippers have guys who can put the ball in the basket. So scoring wise, they're not going to miss Paul George, but so much. But they're going to miss his presence on defense. So they're going to have to try to collectively make up for what he does on defense as a unit, as a team. Kawhi is going to do his thing. Kawhi going to be Kawhi. That playoff Kawhi, we all know that playoff Kawhi hits a lot different, but he also hits in the right way, form, or fashion when it comes to winning and being one of the elite players in the league, which makes him an elite player because he's definitely affecting the game in so many ways, both sides of the floor. It's really kind of crazy how he can actually do that, and nobody else in the NBA seems to come close to being what he is, which is the reason why I say Kawhi is a one-of-a-kind type player. And, I look on Twitter, I look at my social media, and, I even hear some of my close friends actually say that, the Clippers don't have a chance. They see a gentleman's sweep. Or just being swept in general. I think Skip said the same thing as well when I was listening to Undisputed. I think he said gentleman's sweep or getting swept as well. So, it's a lot of doubt, for this team in regards to them not having a chance to beat a Phoenix Suns team who doesn't have the chemistry that everybody's not talking about. And, when you think about Kevin Durant, he was just with Kyrie last year on the Brooklyn Nets. Him and Kyrie got swept by a young Boston team, with what the law firm, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which they are really good. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely, top duo in the league, but I didn't think they were good enough to sweep a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie, two of the most elite, prolific scorers we ever seen in this game, two of the greatest players we ever seen in this game. I didn't think they would get swept by a young Boston team who's just on the rise of, trying to get to where they're going, which is trying to get to a championship. I didn't think they'd get swept by them, but they did. And, of course, the Suns are a different team, but the Suns also have, Monty Williams as a coach. And I don't think Monty Williams is a better head coach than Ty Lue is. Ty Lue is more, to me, he comes up with more schemes than, Monty Williams. Monty Williams is a pretty straightforward guy. The lineups that he runs is what he runs. He doesn't really run anything different, and he's not really that awfully great at making adjustments. So, the chess match between the coaching can really be the determining factor of this series as well that a lot of people might not be talking about. And, I feel like, if you're going to count the Clippers out, it's a bad thing to count them out because this team is so good with their backs against the wall. They've proven it year after year. If any team is good with their back against the wall, it's got to be the Clippers because the Clippers have been just this team with or without their superstars. They find ways to win. Like last year, they found a way to get into the play-in tournament with none of their superstars, neither one of their star players on the floor, in Kawhi and PG, and they still found a way to get to the play-in tournament, and they almost had a chance to, actually get into the playoffs if Paul George didn't catch COVID the way he did or get sick at the wrong time. But either way, this team is very resilient. This team fights, and this team has some dogs on that team. So don't get me wrong. Like I said, the Suns are favored. They should be favored just because of all the talent they have and all the firepower they have. But I don't think you should, undermine the Clippers because there is a champion on the Clippers as well, and his name is Kawhi Leonard. He's the Claw, and I can tell you, Kevin Durant has said before in interviews, he can get off against Kawhi Leonard, do his thing, but it takes work to get off against Kawhi Leonard when he's guarding you because his resume is so long in regards to his defense and how good he is on both ends of the floor and how he affects the game so much. He definitely has to be accounted for at all times when he's on the floor because he's just that effective in a game. And, when I look at pieces like Terrence Mann and guys like that who will come in and give you what they got, everything they got offensively and defensively, I look at somebody like him. You can use him and switch him out in a lot of switches along with Robert Covington. I mean, the Clippers are very, very deep, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of these analysts that's just kind of like picking over the Clippers and not really giving them a chance to win this series, I think they might be wrong. And I really don't think that, it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I really don't. Now, don't get me wrong. Anything can happen. I mean, as I just said, KD and Kyrie on the Brooklyn Nets got swept by the Boston Celtics last year. So anything can happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I just don't see that. I don't foresee that with the Clippers. I think they have too much pride as a team. I think Kawhi has too much pride as a player, along with Russell Westbrook. And, Russ is going to be a wild card in this situation because if they can get a good Russ in regards to giving them about 17 to 20 points with about 2 to 3 turnovers per game or less. If they can get that out of Russell Westbrook, I mean, this team could really do some good things in this series, and they could really shock some people in this series. But, of course, we have to wait and see how it pans out. But I can't wait till the series starts because I think not only a lot of people will be shocked, but I think the Clippers might actually, perform at a lot better level than what, some people think that they will. But only time will tell, and I can't wait for the series, and I can't wait to see the outcome.